Hello everyone. I just wanted to uh, start explaining how to solve quadratic equations. Since my first video was about factorizing, I think the next video should be how to find quadratic equations. So I will try to show all the special cases and regular quadratic equation. Let's start with the standard form of quadratic equation is equal to 0, and it is stated that a shouldn't be 0 because if a becomes 0, that means it will turn into a linear equation, so it will be a different topic. Let's start with the cases, special cases, because sometimes b is missing. I mean, like b is 0 or c is 0. So let's do those questions and then move slightly towards the one that has 3 terms. So let's start with 2x squared minus 98 is equal to 0. I will try to show two methods. Maybe I'm missing one more. You can tell me in the comments. Okay, so first of all, you can do this by taking out common factor. It's going to be x squared minus 49 is equal to 0. And then, as you see, it's a difference of squares. X squared minus, since 49 is square of 7, it can be written like that. And then you can factorize it as x minus 7 times x plus 7 is equal to 0. And since the product is equal to 0, we equalize both to 0. So it's going to be x minus 7 is equal to 0, which leads to x is equal to 7. And then x plus 7 is equal to 0. That leads to x is equal to negative 7. So the solution set is negative 7 and 7. That's first method to do it. Sorry about that. Second method, we could move 98 to the other side of the equation, so it would become 2x squared is equal to 98, and then divide both sides with 2, and that means x squared is equal to 49, and then x is equal to positive negative root of 49, and then x is equal to positive negative 7. This is kind of method I prefer, but in the teaching, a lot of times students forget to put the negative, because square of negative 7 is also equal to 49. That's why, please, students, don't forget that whenever you have a square unknown is equal to a positive number, that means it's going to be plus minus negative. That is one case. Okay, let's go to the other case where the c is missing. So let's do one example. 3x squared minus 7x is equal to 0. So the best method, in my opinion, to avoid any mistakes is to take out a common factor again. It's going to be 3x minus 7 is equal to 0. And then, since now the product is equal to 0, we equalize both to 0. So the first factor going to be 0, and the second factor, 3x minus 7 is equal to 0. 3x is equal to 7, and then divide both sides with 3. X is equal to 7 over 3. So the solution set, or the x, is equal to 0 and 7 over 3. Now, another method, I've seen a lot of students in the past doing this, but this, if you go this route, you might miss one of the roots. So students move the 7x to the other side, and then they simplify x from both sides. That leads to 3x is equal to 7, and then x is equal to 7 over 3. And what is the other root? Since it's a quadratic equation, except when discriminant is equal to 0 or negative, we should have since we're not talking about the complex numbers now. So we should have 2 roots. So when you do that, simplify or divide both sides with x, you lose 1 root, okay? So that's why I prefer this method better. That avoids mistake when you factorize it. Going this route, in math you cannot divide both sides with x unless you are 100% sure that x is not equal to 0, because we cannot divide both sides with 0 in math. So that's why you're doing mistake. Okay, so we try to avoid that one. Let me delete that. Okay. Now, let me go and explain the other forms of quadratic equation. Now, what if 2x squared, we have all three, plus x minus 15 is equal to 0? So usually we try factorizing method, the one that I explained before, because it is always faster and avoids to memorize any formula. So let's try, so let's do 2x and x and then 15. Let's factorize it by 5. I'm gonna do a wrong one first, so let's put negative sign here. So again, cross multiplication for testing, 10x, and then this one going to be, let me highlight. So this is cross multiplication, 10x, and then it's going to be negative 3x and adds up to 7x. So we did it wrong. Let me try the other one, the other combination, 2x, x. We don't have any other possibility to factorize 2x squared. Now this one, let's try 3 and negative 5. Okay, so if you do cross testing, it's going to be 6x and then negative 5x, and that leads to the middle term. That means we factorized it correctly, and so let's do 2x minus 5 times x plus 3 is equal to 0, and again equalize both factors to 0. And so the x will be, I'm gonna skip step here, x is going to be 5 over 2 and x is equal to negative 3. Now the second example, again all three terms are present, minus 10 is equal to 0. So when you are kind of proficient on factorizing, after like few tries, you will realize that no matter how many times, how many combinations you try, you won't get middle term. Let's try a few combinations, 10, negative 1, or we can just change the signs. I don't need to do this third one. Okay, so it won't equal to the middle one. It won't equal to the middle one, so it cannot be factorized. So what we do quadratic method, which the formula is this, negative b plus minus. I try to use discriminants. Some countries use as delta, or some just put the b squared minus 4ac over there. So what is d here? D is equal to b squared minus 4ac, and b squared minus 4ac have three possibilities. If d is equal to less than 0, there will be no real root. Okay, there will be no real root. If d is equal to 0, okay, there is a kind of like different opinions. Some say it has one real root. Some say there is a double root, but the roots are same. But here, when the discriminant is greater than 0, it will have two distinct, my bad, sorry, distinct roots, real roots. Okay, so this one, by the way, will be complex, but it is not our topic today. Okay, now let's try. This is a, by the way, and there is a hidden 1. Okay, so this is a is 1, positive 1, b is 5, and c is negative 10. Don't forget the signs. So let's do it. Find the d. It seems neat to me when I do calculate discriminant separately. So 5 squared minus 4 times a times c. Okay, try to write everything before you do any mistakes. So it's going to be 25 plus 40, which is going to be 65. So our discriminant is a positive 65. That means I will have two real roots. So x1 and x2, I'm gonna combine them. And then negative b, since the b was positive 5, negative b will be negative 5, and then plus minus root 65 divided by 2 times a, since a was 1, 2 times 1 going to be 2. So this is going to be, as you see, it's an irrational root, so we will leave it like that. Although I do not prefer to use this method, but sometimes there are like rare events that you might solve quadratic equation like mentally, but again, it is up to you. So what we can do here, solving by completing to a square. So, but it usually, like the mentally one usually works when the coefficient of x squared is 1 and the middle term coefficient is an, an even number. So, as you see, this is 2 times 19. According to the perfect square formula, this third part should be 81, like the 9 square, 81. But this is negative 9. I need to change it to 81. Okay, I need to make this part 81. And to do that, I'm going to add 90 to both sides. Okay, now what will happen here? It will turn into x squared. Since I'm adding a same number to both sides, the equation does not change, but it will turn into this. 81 is equal to 90. Now, as you see, the left part will turn into a square expression, which is equal to 90. And since a square is equal to 90, don't forget about the negative sign. It will be x plus 9 will be positive negative 90, which is basically positive negative 3 root 10. Okay, so what we do, we just move the 9 to the other side of the equation. It will be x is equal to 9 plus minus 3 root 10. As you see, sometimes it is better to use completing the square, and you will get and you will avoid to use the quadratic formula because some students having hard time memorizing that. Thanks for watching. I hope this will be helpful to you. Thank you.